When someone at work says, "You're the only one I can count on," it may sound like praise. And sometimes it really is. But sometimes it's another moment in time when your long term career goals are being traded for short term relief. If you're the highly capable one in the office who keeps getting asked for quick favors, this is for you. I'm Brett Anzac. For the last 30 years, I've trained capable adults and leaders to perform, lead, and rebuild when life shifts. I'm a certified life mastery and leadership coach, and I believe that midlife isn't a crisis but a leverage point, and that your age is your advantage. Let me show you how to use it. Here's a pattern that I have often seen in coaching. It's late afternoon, calendar is stacked full, and Slack is loud. Someone drops by your desk for a quick favor, but you really know it's not going to be quick. But you say yes anyway because it feels easier than negotiating or just flat out saying no. As they're walking away, they kindly smile and say, "Thank you. You're the only one I can really count on." It reads like appreciation, but it's quietly redefining your role at work. The common misread here is that it's a time or kindness problem. It isn't. The accurate read is it's about task routing. Work gets routed to the person who will fix it the easiest and the fastest with the least resistance. Often, that's the most capable person in the office, but not necessarily the person that should be doing the work, which means your time as the highly capable person gets filled with what keeps the office machinery running, while your professional leverage stays hidden. Here's what I'm talking about. Work that has low promotability value leads to weaker visibility, and weaker visibility leads to weaker advocacy. And we know that weaker personal advocacy leads to a career standstill. This is how you stay employed forever and lose sight of your career trajectory. You become more indispensable for everybody else's needs or the quick favor, but less associated with promotable outcomes and less visible in the organization. Here is a new standard I'd encourage you to implement to solve this. It's a standard that will help protect not only your sanity, but your career path. I don't accept extra work that doesn't build scope, leverage, or proof of promotability for me. Or in other words, I won't take on extra work or do quick favors unless it fits my standard of helping me gain skills, increase visibility, or be a compassionate team player. Remember, you're trying to avoid taking on everybody else's work. You're not a dumping ground for quick favors just because you can do it quickly and correctly. This is about creating standards over goals. Goals say where you want to go. Standards decide what you're accepting along the way. The goal would be moving into a leadership position or a raise or managing a project. Standards keep you on track for that goal. And that difference is what changes careers. Here are 5 strategies to help you set standards. The first strategy is to build a promotion-proof visibility file. Many careers stall after a reorganization or a new manager comes around or leadership changes. Not because your work has stopped mattering, it's because the visibility and the history don't survive the change. Here's a way to counteract this. To start your own promotion-proof file, every Friday, take 10 minutes at the end of the week and write down your outcomes with metrics and scope. Include financial and statistical details, and write one clean sentence describing what you did. No adjectives, just facts. An appropriate short recap. What changed, why it matters, what you would recommend next. Make your work visible to someone outside of your lane and your team. If only your team understands it, your work becomes more fragile. Something I see often in organizations that I've led is that people, particularly women, do excellent work and assume it will be noticed. And often it is, but often it's invisible and it isn't always credited correctly. Now, this isn't about hogging the credit or taking over, but instead it's about being visibly included in what's going on in the organization. Strategy number 2 is stop donating your calendar. There's a difference between being a team player and being the default volunteer. The research here is brutal. Women are more likely to be asked and more likely to say yes to work that is necessary, but not necessarily career building. Here are 3 new scripts to put in place to prevent this from happening. I can help once, but we need a rotation going forward. Or I can do this, but it will need to replace X. Which one do you want? Or I see that this does matter. Who owns it and what time is allocated to this? If you keep one of these lines in your head and always prepared for those quick favor moments, it will help reduce the stress and you will know how to respond. Your calendar should be your strategy and not your personality. There is nothing wrong with jumping in and helping out, but don't allow your identity to become the highly capable person that is the cleanup person or the dumping ground for the organization. Strategy number 3 is about replacing mentoring with sponsorships. Now, mentors give advice, but sponsors can create something much more valuable, and that's advocacy. And advocacy happens when you're not in the room. Leadership research around promotions shows something very interesting. High potential women are often over-mentored and under-sponsored, meaning advice is plentiful, but advocacy is not. So in the next 30 days, make a move to set a new standard for yourself. Identify 2 people with real power in the organization and bring them your executive grade update. 1 risk or opportunity, 2 options, and your recommendation for moving forward. Then ask for that sponsorship or advocacy action. Will you back me for leading X? Will you put my name forward for Y? Those relationships matter because it's advocacy and not mentorship that is the real currency that will help move your career forward. The 4th strategy is owning your own narrative. This is where psychology matters. When people don't know how to place you, they place you where you're easiest to use, and that's often sadly based on stereotypes. Research on gender stereotypes clearly show that a vague fit assumption shapes evaluations and opportunities. Instead of others creating a narrative and a place for you, create and use these 3 positioning statements to create your place and narrative. I lead X outcomes. I'm strongest when Y conditions are true. Or lastly, I want Z scope. Use these statements in your monthly one-on-one check-ins, in performance reviews, and in cross-functional conversations or communications. As you promote yourself with your branding narratives, others will pick up on it and start using it. If you don't define your lane with your narrative, you'll be left with how others define you, and you'll be left on the sidelines. The last strategy I'll share is pre-deciding your responses for stressful situations. In the psychology world, they call this implementation intentions. Most people don't lose traction because they don't know what to do. They lose it in the moment that social pressure or stress shows up. So by pre-planning your implementation intentions, you'll know what to say instead of having to come up with it on the spot. So think about different scenarios and decide if X happens, then Y will be my response. When you already have thought through your responses, you will dramatically improve your follow-through under stress. For example, the next time someone stops by for a quick favor, you could then respond, "Send me the request and I will follow up with you tomorrow." This is intentional. You control the narrative because you've decided ahead of time what your response will be. And by consistently using your implementation intentions, you decide and control how you follow your professional standards about quick favors or other things that are not of value to your goals. Most career advice focuses on personality instead of standards. So careers usually shift when your standards change, whether that's intentional or unintentional. In my coaching, if I were working on this situation, we would start with a real life inventory. What you're currently carrying and what's promotable in the situation, what you're maintaining that needs to be delegated elsewhere, and what you're being drafted into that is low leverage work. One female leader I coached was called by her colleagues as indispensable. She thought it was praise, but she didn't see that it was actually a trap. We installed 2 new professional standards as lanes for her to work within. The first, no new work for someone else without a trade-off, and the second, no automatic acceptance of quick favors without a decision window. Within weeks, her to-do list and her work became cleaner. Her stress level decreased, and she became more visible by doing promotion-worthy work. And she also became easier to advocate for and not just mentor. If you keep tolerating invisible work and unowned requests, you will stay busy, stay helpful, and stay likable, but you'll also slowly become less promotable. This is not about disengaging or leaning out. It's about actively leaning in and choosing strategically to follow personal standards that don't cost you your career or your future. One question to continually be asking yourself to keep this all framed in is, where am I still saying yes to protect somebody else's comfort at my expense? If these ideas resonate with you and you would like help turning your experience into leverage, you can learn more about me and my work as a life mastery and leadership coach at ageofadvantage.com.